Hi. Sorted is one of the built-in functions. It is used to sort a collection. It uses a parameter called key to change the default order of sorting. Key parameter takes a function. So let us see how we pass a function to alter the default order for sorting.
This is the syntax for sorted. It takes iterable and then key and reverse. And from the syntax, you see key and reverse are keyword only arguments. And iterable is a normal argument, positional. So this is the collection which is to be sorted. Normally, it is sorting the collection based on the default order. So if I'm using strings, it is sorting them by comparing the characters. If I'm using numbers, it is sorted based on the numeric value. But I don't want to sort by default order sometimes because that's not what I want. So if you ever want to change the order by which it is sorting, you can use this key. This key is supposed to be a function. So what sorted is saying, it calls this function for every value in the iterable. Whatever this function returns, it is going to take those values for internal sorting. I mean, for comparison. It is going to compare the values based on what the key is written. So whatever the key returns, it takes that for comparison. And eventually, it is going to give you the result by comparing the values according to this. The interesting thing here is, though it is using key for comparison, the actual values you get are what are present in iterable. It is not going to give these values. It's only using them for internal comparison. The actual value that you get to see is coming from iterable. Whatever iterable you give, from that it takes the values. But whatever the key is returning, that's considered for comparison. Okay, so look at this. If you go and sort it normally, if you don't mention anything about key, you're going to sort these names based on the characters, because strings are always sorted by characters. Okay, let's put this. So I have set of names and I want to sort them. If you don't do anything like this, just go with the names and then try to sort, you're going to get the order like this. So you're going to get C first because that's the smallest of all the letters. Then C#, then Java, and then PHP, and then Python. Because you know C, J, and P. And if you give somewhere something like SQL, it's going to come at the end because that's the largest of the characters. You're talking about how sorted is sorting. Sorted is sorting the given collection based on the default comparison. The default comparison between these two is based on the characters. So it compares P with the J and they are not same, and it will then stop and it will say P is bigger than J, so P comes after J. That's the natural comparison. But I don't want to compare these names based on the characters. I want to compare them based on the length. So take the length of the string and then arrange them based on the length. If that is your requirement, then just go to key and say you want to call the function length. Because again, sorted is saying whatever function you give here, it should take a value and it should return a value. It should take a value and it should return a value. And whatever it returns, that's what it is considering for comparison. And look at that. Now the order is different. Now you see your PHP and SQL going up because they have only 3 characters. And JavaScript comes at the bottom because it has more characters. That's how it is. So we are talking about how to change the default comparison. The default comparison is changed by giving a function for key. This can play extremely important role because it can change the way sorted is sorting the list. Okay, now the next example is, what if you give some numbers? Again, let's say you have numbers 10, then 9, and then 4, and then 30. These are the numbers I have, but they're all coming in the form of strings, a common scenario. I want to sort these numbers. So if you give and ask it to sort these numbers, then you see you're going to get those numbers sorted by the characters. It's not going to take the numeric value. It's going to take these values as strings and they will be sorted like strings. And look at this. So you get 10 first and 9 last, and the 30 comes before 4. This is not what you expect. But that's what you get when you're dealing with strings, because they are numbers, but they are stored as strings. So for Python, it is like sorting strings, not sorting numbers. Well, this is where you can again change the way it is treating them. So you can say key is equal to int. So we want to call this function, and whatever this returns, that is supposed to be used for comparison. So it is returning integers, and those integers are compared. And see the difference now. All of a sudden, your strings are treated as numbers and the order changed. So your key is actually invoking the function, and it gives 10, for example, to this, we get 10 as an integer, and that's being used in the comparison process. So sorted is saying I sort the given list with the default comparison, but if you want to change the way I treat those values, or if you want to compare on a different set of values, you provide a function which returns what you want to compare. So here integer is used and it is comparing all the values as integers. And in this case, we take length and we compare lengths. But another important point, as I mentioned before, though it is internally using len, when it comes to giving you the values, it gives the original value. You are not going to get length. You are going to get the original value. So you are going to sort the names, but not by the default order, but by the length. You are free to create any function, and that function can take a single value and return a single value. You can use any value, that's up to you.